What's up, what's up, what's up? It's Rap Sheet Hollywood. We bring you the live. It's the freshest commentary in Hollywood, but with a hip-hop flair. I'm your host, the incomparable Poop Diesel, and today we are coming from the city of Carson. We have a very, very special interview with you. Today we are saluting our veterans. We have Mr. Henry Charles Johnson. He is 90 years young. He is a classically trained vocalist, and he has also served his country as one of the first African-American Marines. Henry, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. Now, we gotta start off with you just giving us a few bars of those melodic vocals that you have, those golden vocals. Man, go ahead and wow our Rap Sheet Hollywood people, man. Give them just a little taste, just a little bit.
On a wonderful day like today, I defy any clouds to appear in the sky, dare any raindrop to plop in my eye, on a wonderful day like today.
Wow. Now, I told you he was a great singer. Look, he's got his own CDs. This brother has been doing it for quite some time. We are honoring and saluting our veterans. So what I'd love to do is, Henry, just start from the beginning. When you first were born in New Orleans, Louisiana, tell us about that.
Yes, in 1928, November 3rd, 1928.
Wow.
Born in New Orleans, in the city of Orleans.
In the city of Orleans. And then not too shortly afterwards, you actually make your way up to the big city of New York City, Manhattan. 5
going on 6 years old. My grandmother, who was a domestic worker, she was working for Lawyer Levine at the time. She had migrated a year prior. And so she decided that she would try to find a job for my mom, and she did, and in a nice place for her to live. And with the influence of Lawyer Levine, we were able to live in 99th Street, which was 2 neighborhoods that were predominantly black in Lower Manhattan.
Right.
Yeah.
So Lower Manhattan, not Harlem, but in Lower Manhattan.
Yeah, Harlem begins at 110th Street.
Okay.
We were right off Central Park West.
But your music career, you actually start, moving forward in that, and you make your way to the world famous Apollo Theater. Tell us about that.
Yes, I had an opportunity to sing at the Apollo Theater as a result of being a local celebrity with the local bands. They decided that it would be a good thing for me to try that out. And so I did, with the help of my Uncle Richard, who later managed the Apollo Theater, by the way. So I sang and won the first prize.
And what age were you then?
I was 15 and a half, going on 16.
Wow.
However, I did not get to receive the week.
Okay.
Because they had certain standards that they wanted,
And so then you're actually able to join the Marines as one of the first African Americans. This is historic, so please tell us a little bit about that.
I had no idea what I was doing. I only wanted to join the Marines because I know my family couldn't afford to send me to music school. And I knew that I could get the GI Bill. So I joined the Marines and to get the chance to go to school. Yeah.
So when you're in the Marines, you go to a very historic place, Montford Point. Tell us about this historic place.
Yes. On the way, we were in a canvas-covered truck, and we were on our way to Camp Lejeune. We stopped at Camp Lejeune, I should say, proper. And there was brick building and manicured lawns and all of that. And I said, oh man, this is like New York, I'm gonna like this. And little did I know, this was just the driver just trying to tease us more or less, give us the impression that this is where you're gonna be. And so he could have a good laugh. And so what he did was he hit that gas and we went flying every which way. And still in the truck, fortunately, and about 5 miles away from Camp Lejeune proper, which was segregated. We were in a place called Montford Point, which originally were stables for horses. And the first black Marines, they converted it into living quarters.
Wow.
And so that's where I did my boot camp.
Wow. So you actually broke down a lot of barriers. It's interesting because we've heard of the Tuskegee Airmen and we've heard about, some of their accomplishments, but we really didn't hear about, what happened with integration in the Marines, of African Americans coming into the Marines. What was that like for you?
Well, it was rather strange because I grew up when I arrived in New York City. It was a mixed, and I had never been so young at 5 years old. I had never experienced any segregation or anything. I didn't know what that was, and just to come to North Carolina and be subject to that, it was traumatic for me.
Wow. But we thank you, because without that, we couldn't be where we are today. So then in your life's journey, you actually make your way to Hawaii. And tell us about your time in Hawaii. And what was the city called where you were?
Lu'u'u'alei in Honolulu.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had an opportunity to meet a very important gentleman by the name of Major Chomsky. And Major Chomsky, a Jewish rabbi, wanted to do the first Jewish High Holy Day in Hawaii. And I was able to learn the language phonetically and to sing in Hebrew.
Wow.
For the Jewish High. That was the first one that they had in Hawaii then.
Wow. So as a classically trained vocalist, you had already been able to sing in French and Latin, but now you were even adding Hebrew to your repertoire.
Correct.
Wow. Just amazing. So from New Orleans to New York to Hawaii, then you make your way to good old Chicago. And you're a part of the, what is the name of it? The Chicago American Conservatory. Tell us a little bit about
the
that.
American Conservatory of Music in Chicago. Yes, well, a friend of mine who, he and his wife and family resided in Chicago. He was a fellow Marine. He was so interested in my singing, and he said, Dr. Ralph Barhill I think Barhill was either from the Met or one of the famous studios at the time. He said, I'd like for him to hear you sing. So he sent him a little plastic recording of me singing, and he said, well, if he decides to come to Chicago, I'd like to meet with him and see if I can be of help to him. And I did, but it was more of a part-time thing because I had to work to make a living, So whenever I could afford to, I would take lessons with him. I studied about a year with him.
Wow. And while you were in the Marines, you were in a musical called Saddle Up. Talk about that. That's pretty historic.
Saddle Up was at Camp Lejeune. I was there getting ready for my discharge. I only had about a year, maybe close to a year, a little over a year to serve, and then to discharge. And that's when they started the Saddle Up. It was supposed to be a musical to travel the country, pardon me, to recruit Marines. I don't know what happened after because I received my discharge. So whether they continue on or not, I don't know.
Right. So you were actually in the Marines, and then you got out of the Marines, and then you re-enlisted back into the Marines.
Well, that was the first time. The first time I was in the Marines, I only served a little over a year.
Okay.
And I got out of the convenience of the government because the war was over with.
Gotcha.
That was in latter part of 1945. I used up all of my GI Bill, and I decided I wanted to continue on studying my music, so I went back into the Marine Corps, and this time I served the 4 years. That's when I went to Hawaii, and the rest is history. I sang with Trummy Young's band and did the Jewish High Holy Day and all of that.
I'm just so impressed with you as being, a 90 years young, veteran. You still are just so sharp. You like all of your capabilities. You remember the years and everything. Tell us about what is it called, the Georgia Lassiter Association of the Musicians, and you were specifically in a branch called the
Georgia Lassiter Association of Musicians. Yeah. Well, originally it was called the National Association of Negro Musicians, which was established in 1919 when people of color could not sing but Caucasians. And later on we decided, in fact last year we decided 2018, we decided we would change it to Georgia Lassiter Association of Musicians Incorporated, because we give our scholarship to all races of people, and we didn't want to mislead people and have them thinking that because it says Negro Association, only Negroes would be able to receive the scholarship.
Mm-hmm. So this world journey, you'd have traveled all over the country, all over the world, and then you come back and you settle in good old California. You settle in Carson, and you're not just in Carson just sitting here twiddling your thumbs playing bingo. You actually are in the community and you are doing community activism. You become a commissioner of the city of Carson. Please elaborate.
Oh yes. I was a senior advisory commissioner. Then later on, I became environmental commissioner, and then the final commission that I had was for cultural arts, which is really known as the fine arts, but they renamed it the Cultural Arts Society and whatnot.
Well, on behalf of Rap Sheet Hollywood and all of our fans, we salute you, and we just want to say thank you for your service. Your story is so inspiring. We look forward to hearing more because, we've heard about other factions or other parts of the branches of service, but we haven't heard, a story about you and what's been happening with others that you represent, other people that have been in the Marines. So we thank you, and we just want to say, with that, Rap Sheet Hollywood, Henry Charles Johnson, we salute you. So maybe take us out with just a few more bars of some of that good vocal ability you have. It's been beautiful. Thank you.
Tonight won't be just any night. Tonight there will be no morning star. Tonight, I'll see my love tonight, and for us, stars will stop where they are. That's enough for that.
Rap Sheet Hollywood, we salute Henry Charles Johnson. And guess what, y'all? We out.